And
he's just the worst.
And he kept doing it too, right?
Yeah. No, there's a documentary where he's posting stuff like, God, I love being married.
Yeah.
And, minutes later, he's texting some 19-year-old or some 17-year-old. I guess there were some venues that would not book him. And then there were a few venues that just sort of broke the mold. And the next thing you know, he's just on his merry way playing to sold-out houses. And the fans don't give a shit. They just don't. But I guess with Chris D'Elia, I'm a little surprised that the venues, that some of these, especially these comedy venues, that they aren't more. It just seems like he's really disturbed. I mean, that whole story is really, really disturbing. And then when it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, and it's crazy, and I remember he quit his podcast for a couple years, and then he came back, and he was like.
Speaking of canceling. Remember when SNL hired a guy and then fired him really quick?
People posted Shane Gillis.
Yeah. Have you watched his Netflix special? Because a lot of people are. I think it was in the top 3.
Kanye West is being sued by a contractor.
The story's the best.
I cannot figure out why anyone does business with Kanye West or Antonio Brown. Why would anyone ever get involved in anything with either one of them? It's so crazy. Isn't it crazy?
That's why it was perfect when they were working together on Done to Sports. Remember, he was the president of Done to Sports, right. Antonio Brown.
So Kanye, this poor contractor, he's living in this house he's building for Kanye. He's like sleeping on the floor. And Kanye demands that he removes all electricity and all windows. And this guy's like, no, you can't do that. That's...
What?
What happened?
What?
Trudy!
Keep going.
Trudy's eating Reese's.
She's hiding it under the table, and I'm starving. I'm starving.
That's hilarious. I love this.
So
Trudy went into my freezer and found my Reese's.
No, I don't want orange. I
got them for you, Trudy.
You are always setting that trap for me.
You went in there for ice earlier. Did you locate the Reese's when you went in there?
I didn't see it before. No, I was just.
Sure about that?
No, I'm sure about that. I was just hungry.
So when you went upstairs, did you go upstairs specifically going, I'm finding some fucking Reese's? Yes, you did.
I may have, just paw through your refrigerator a little bit.
I'm glad you did.
That's hilarious.
under your all those gourmet meals.
Did you consider asking me?
No. At that point,
I love your honesty.
At that point, I thought that I could do it on the download. You didn't notice.
It was totally on download until you threw them to Mark.
If I wasn't starving, you would have gotten away with it.
Well, if you went back and watched the video, though, you probably would have busted me.
I kind of want to see.
You have it below.
That's later.
We should have Jim inspect that video and see if it's all captured.
I'm just saying, wide receivers typically don't suffer from CTE. It's mainly lineman, linebacker, people that the repeated short hits, right? So, you even see it in Hard Knocks. The receivers and the DBs never wear that extra cap on their helmet. It's just the people that are banging.
So he's just an asshole.
I think he's just an asshole.
He's just a criminal.
He's making that up.
He's just a first-rate criminal.
As an excuse.
Sexual.
High IQ.
But, honestly, I wasn't really feeling all that strongly about Louis C.K. because at least he was contrite. He admitted everything. He said, I did it. I absolutely did it. Now, his behavior before that was horrific.
Sure. He's still funny as shit, though, too.
He's really funny. That helps. But then when I get down to Chris D'Elia, I'm like, I can't understand why arenas will even book him, why venues will book him. After all the times they busted him for these underage chicks and this controlling behavior and this freaky stuff, he's just the worst.
And he kept doing it, too, right?
Yeah.